Yo, what is up, YouTube boxing family? It's K right here. I'm back with another good video for you guys today. I'm gonna be talking about Mr. Shakur Stevenson, and we will talk about his Puerto Rican roots situation. I'm just gonna give like my particular perspective of how I feel about the situation, or try to be as objective as I can on the situation itself. Oh, sorry. But yeah, basically, I'm just gonna give like my little 2 cents on it, and I'll just go about like my way after this video. And if you guys want to talk more about it, that's up to you. But yeah, man, let's get right into it, man. We're gonna be talking about, this whole Puerto Rican, fiasco situation for, Shakur being, I guess, like, prideful of his Puerto Rican heritage. So I'm going to give my perspective on it, and I'm going to talk about what other people in the black community likes to say against Shakur in boxing, to say, like, he's betraying his own people for supporting his own black people, right? Or like basically like Shakur being prideful of his Puerto Rican heritage means that he is betraying black people as a whole in the sport of boxing, because Shakur isn't, he isn't catering to all black people. But it just doesn't make any sense, because it's like the whole argument of its own just falls apart. And I just find it to be pretty stupid. Like, I mean, people can think that I'm being like very, hyper biased on Shakur, because they, like, they could very well say that, I don't know shit about, black people and, whatnot. And even though that I'm black myself, and I basically counteract with black people almost every day here in my neck of the woods in New York. But it's like, how I see it is just like black people and Puerto Ricans and any other racial ethnicity here in the States, it doesn't matter like who you are as a person. Like, if you don't bother other people and you just go about your own way to be successful, then there's nothing wrong. It's just that, you are who you are. If you are proud of being a Armenian that has black roots, then you're going to say that you're a black Armenian. So if Shakur, if he was black and Armenian, he would say, shout out to all my Armenian people and shout out to all my black people. Like, like there should be no limitation of who you want to give respects for your own people, because you are who you are, like you don't have anybody to cater to other than, yourself. But for some weird reason in the sport of boxing, like black people have this weird, like psychoactive or psychopathic behavior where we all have to be collectivists to each other, and we can't be proud of who we are, and like, in anything, like as if we have to be limited to just saying I'm just proud to be black. Like, I'm not proud to give respects to my other ancestries that brought me up as a child. And that's just pretty stupid, because it's like that just means that you're not giving respect to your own people. And I mean, granted, like, you don't have to say like, you're not proud of being Mexican or being Venezuelan if you are black. But for some weird reason, if you're not black and you're just some other racial ethnicity that's mixed in with that gene pool, there's a different mindset to that. And I just hate it, man, because it's just like Shakur, I'm pretty sure, he's a chill person, outside of boxing. Like, Shakur doesn't seem like that type of guy where he's going to pull some weird comments, right in front of you. And I guess, like, if you really think about it, like, this is almost similar to like the situation where Peter Quillen, he said that, I'm not black, I'm a Cuban man. But it's like, J-Rock, for those of you that don't know, Julian J-Rock Williams, he exposed Peter Quillen, I believe, on Instagram or Twitter. This is like way back. I think this is like a couple years back, but he basically exposed Peter Quillen to say like, nah, this man says he's not black, but yet his mother was like from Chicago, and she's a pure black, woman from Chicago. She has a lot of black DNA, and she is a, homogenous, black American woman. So Peter Quillen was just basically saying that to try to act like he's not black. And I guess, that even plays with that even plays out that same role with your Dennis Ugas, because as much as Ugas he wants to say he's not black, he's a Cuban man, but it's like, no, dude, you're fucking black. Like, you should be proud of, like, you should be proud of who you are as a person, coming out of your own roots. And see that the whole black, diaspora, or the black dilemma of being like a black mixed Hispanic, or some people would say Latino, but I just basically say, Hispanic, because, anybody that's mixed with like the Spanish or Indian genes, or basically either Spanish slash Portuguese and other like European mix that had mixed in with like the Indian roots itself, that's basically a Hispanic per se. Or you're more so just a indigenous mix, individual, or indigenous mix, how should I say, like, I don't, like, racial terminologies has always been very confusing, predating to any colonial or post-colonial era. But when you look at the racial, dilemma of like South America, or the Caribbean, or Central America, like Mexico, Nicaragua, Guatemala, like a lot of those people are brown. They're not quote unquote white, Spanish slash Portuguese driven people, and which, the only Portuguese mixed people out there are people in Brazil. But Brazilians, for a good portion of them, they're very mixed, and they have a different gene pool, in which you have some people that are like really super duper Indian, to the gills. Like they have like a lot of like South American bloodline of their own Indian genes. And then you have other people, especially like, women like Claudia Gadelha, the former female UFC fighter. She's gorgeous, she's awesome. Shout out to Claudia Gadelha. She's a great woman. But no, she definitely carries a, she carries like a European, mix, in her bloodline. She definitely does not have, a lot of, Indian like features, but you can see that in Brazil, like a lot of people are mixed, in that bloodline, and they just, happen to carry different diverse mixes throughout, the, ethnic trade of cultural diffusion between those bloodlines per se. So when we translate that into the, Caribbean, Central American, bloodlines, especially from like the Spanish end, people that are black, 9 times out of 10 have a pretty good mix of, Spanish, American Indian mix, or, other mixes that come in, like Asian, Arabic, I guess anything that you could think of, like, everybody has constantly been mixing, racial wise for thousands of years. So it's like, that the gene pool will always, basically switch up. It's like a, it's like a tree where every different leaf has like a different color. So every breed has like a different, gene pool of like where everything starts and where everything ends. But in regards to Shakur Stevenson, when you look at his family is, primarily black. But when you look at his father, like his father is black, but I'm pretty sure like somewhere, within his dad's roots, his family, has a difference in racial, pigmentation. Does that mean that his father does not acknowledge himself being black? Of course not. Because Shakur Stevenson's dad, he's proud of who he is as a black Puerto Rican man, but it's like, not every Puerto Rican sees themselves as of the same person. There's white Puerto Ricans that really do think that they're white people, and that's really stupid of them to believe in that. But there's some white Puerto Ricans that really do think like I'm just like a white man, and I don't have anything else in my bloodline. In which you're just like a mixed breed. That's really who you are. Guys like Canelo Alvarez. Most people in America, especially anybody from the north to the southern border of the country, they will look at Canelo Alvarez as a white man. Nobody here in America will ever look at Canelo Alvarez as a mixed albino breed Mexican. If you bring Canelo out to the hood in Georgia, like to the deep black hood in Georgia, most black people in America will say to Canelo, are you white?" In which Canelo, he will say, "Yeah, I'm white, but I am Mexican." But not a lot of people will basically come up to him and actually believe him because, the mindset of, political identitarianism, in which, minus, all the racial, racist, aspects on behind it, that some people, try to carry that. But when you look at the mindset that people carry and that, dilemma, they have just like a different way of just seeing things when it comes to, I guess like race in general. I mean, it's always been like a really violent, cycle of how people see each other. And, that's something that people have been taught ever since they were children, to be divisive because, they don't know any better. But with Shakur's case, I mean, he shouldn't be limited to what he's proud of. There's going to be instances where he will say in certain post-fight interviews or interviews themselves, when he's asked about his Puerto Rican roots, it's like, he's proud of it. And I mean, look at Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony, he's a proud black man. He doesn't phase himself like away from it. And I mean, it's just that Carmelo Anthony, he has to still, put himself in that role of being like a black man first before anything else. So it's not like Carmelo Anthony is not, discrediting his own black people in America, because he is very proud to be black, just as much as being a proud Puerto Rican, descended person. Because, he didn't know too much about his father. Because if anything, Shakur Stevenson and Carmelo Anthony, they basically go through that same notion. They don't know too much about their fathers, and their fathers both got killed, unfortunately. When they were like a very, young age. And, it sucks because it's like, you want to know more like about like your heritage, but it's pretty hard for you to, understand that, especially growing up. Because, there's certain areas in which, you want to, uplift yourself to be prideful of who you are, on the inside. But on the outside, you still put yourself in the same position to say that, this is who I am and this is what I have to be, at all times, because, this is who I am. Like, this is what made me into, what I'm built with. So there's really nothing to be mad about. It's just that, black people still have to play their role as being black. And I'm not going to, play victim, I'm always, going to wake up to be successful and be better than other black people that stand right around me, that try to be bottom feeders to hold other people down, because that's what, a lot of black Americans do, sadly, in which not a lot of black Americans want to be successful. They think that other people need to give them stuff to keep themselves in a better place of being, basically degenerates. And I mean, there's really nothing wrong of me saying that, because it's just like, that's how, the majority of people really act, when it comes to people that are, black mixed, individuals. Like, I mean, granted, there are like stupid black mixed people, out there that will try to play victim, and then they'll try to like say like, oh, well, I'm not black, I'm this and that. But it's like, dude, like, you're still black. It doesn't matter. Like, regardless of what you try to say, you're still a black person. So you still have to be prideful of who you are first before anything else. I could care less, if I was white and you tell me that you're like a black Jew, I'd be like, okay, fine, you're a black Jew, congratulations. But the thing is like being being black and mixed does not give you the, how should I say, it doesn't give you like the green light to just get away from reality to say that you're not a black person, so therefore you don't have to play any responsibility of being proud of who you are, as a black person, because that doesn't make any sense, because you are who you are and you have everything in the world to work hard for. But it's like when it comes to Shakur Stevenson, people will just expect Shakur to basically play that role of just being, everybody's favorite black person. In which Shakur, he is very, very prideful of being black. It's not like he's going to just walk, like basically walk away from not being black. He carries out the massive pride of Newark, New Jersey with him. So it's not like Shakur, he's not walking away from being black, but it's like, to all the, retarded, black casual, boxing fans, like, those people, right, that are, race baiters, they'll say, oh, yeah, well, Shakur is race baiting away from black people, and he's basically betraying his own heritage, but it's not true. It's like Shakur will be him, like, he'll be his own person at the end of, like at the end of the day. You can't tell a man what he can or cannot do. But when you try to say, like, Shakur, he can't be proud of his Puerto Rican roots, that's disrespectful to the Puerto Rican people that support him. And then on top of that, if Shakur wants to pay his dues to the Puerto Rican people, that's up to him. Like, Shakur wants to do that because he's proud of that. But when it comes with black people, that's fine. But it's like with Puerto Ricans, it's like you can't give a man his props for him being proud of his, other heritages that he carries. Like, I'm pretty sure Shakur, like, at the end of the day, it's just like he has certain boundaries that, he probably has to say to let the media, for him, like, not to say this but say that, in which, I'm pretty sure, like, with him being connected with Jay Prince, Jay Prince is going to make him say some, like, basically make him say some coonery shit where he's not going to be, able to really fully express himself. But it's like, like, when you look at Shakur's personality, he's a very outspoken person. Like, he's not just coming into any situation to say, like, he's not proud of who he is, as a black person. He's very proud of being black. He's very proud of, standing up for, for his people and standing up for his pride of Newark, Newark, New Jersey. But it's like, don't be surprised when Shakur wants to stand up for his Puerto Rican people, because I'm sure there's a good number of Puerto Ricans that do like Shakur. And obviously, I know Kinda Loco Sports, and Kinda Loco, he'll straight up say that, I'm pretty sure Kinda Loco would say that plenty of Puerto Ricans, love Shakur Stevenson. Like my, uncle, he loves Shakur. He's out of the Bronx. That's like, one of, like my Puerto Rican uncles off my grandfather's side of the family. That's one of his brothers, but he likes Shakur, and I'm pretty sure plenty of Puerto Ricans in New York City love going to Shakur's fights, and they stand up for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I guess that the biggest issue that a lot of like weird black casual, boxing fans try to have against Shakur is just that they try to think that Shakur is basically, betraying his own black heritage for the sake of being, how should I say, being only exclusive to a certain group of people, because, he wants to basically cater to multiple groups. But it's like, he's still black at the end of the day, so he can't really be saying that. He should just be saying thank you to all my people and then move on. But it's like Shakur is still who he is, like, as a person. So, you really can't tell Shakur what to do. But when you look at the situation at hand, like Shakur, he's he's basically just giving props to the people that have stood that have stood up for him and just basically support him. And to me at least, I don't see any issue with it. It's like Shakur Stevenson, he's a grown man. He doesn't need anybody telling him what he can or cannot say to the public. But it's like, don't be surprised when other people of other ethnic backgrounds say it. Look at Tito Mercado. He's Mexican. I'm pretty sure he is, but I'm not even too sure if Tito's black, but he kind of looks like he's like a black Mexican. He looks like almost like a Juan, Toscano Anderson type of person, because his face kind of looks like he got like black features. But, let's just say Tito Mercado, he says, shout out to all my black people or something like that, even though, he looks, Mexican, he has like a very Mexican-ish look. But like, I'm just basically spitballing, about the possibilities. But Tito is a very proud, Mexican person. I would basically agree that he has very prideful Mexican, roots out of his, fan base, in California. But does that mean like Tito, he has to be exclusive to black, to the Mexican audience? And the answer is no. He doesn't need to be exclusive to just the Mexican audience. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of black people that like Tito Mercado, and just as much as many black people that like Manny Pacquiao or Juan Juan Estrada, or any other fighter that you could think of. Even for me, I like Juan Manuel Marquez. He's one of like my favorite Mexican fighters that I've stood up for many years, ever since I was like a little kid. He's definitely top 10 best pound for pound fighters, especially in the welterweight division, and many other divisions in boxing. But does it just mean that Juan Manuel Marquez has to be exclusive to just being a Mexican man, where he can't be prideful of his own supporters of different racial backgrounds that actually stand up for him? And the answer is no. Juan Estrada or Juan Manuel Marquez has all the greatest fans right by him, regardless of skin color. And that shouldn't be anywhere different for Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is obviously, marketing his name more out to other groups of people, and it shouldn't be that big of a problem, because it's like Shakur Stevenson, he's just trying to do what he needs to do to be successful, as a fighter. Because let's just say if Shakur is only exclusive to how should I say, if he's only just exclusive to just his black American fan base, then what that means is that everywhere he goes, it's only going to be mostly black people that show up to his fights. If I'm not mistaken, Shakur, he's never fought outside of the United States yet. He's always fought, in America. So to my knowledge and understanding, it would probably be best for Shakur to expand his fan base even greater to other parts of the world, so that way more people of different ethnic backgrounds can actually support him more. Because if you don't do that, then basically what's going to end up happening is just that Shakur, he's not really going to have, the greatest fan base out there. And I mean, that's just me though. I don't really see the progression that Shakur is really putting himself in there when it comes to fan base, because obviously when you look at the amount of people that show up to his fights, it's obviously mostly people from the Northeast that show up to his fights. Obviously he fought in Vegas. He fought in I don't know what parts of the US that he fought in, but I'm pretty sure it's it was always mostly Northeast or Midwest. I don't think Shakur has ever fought anywhere Western, out in like what, California. But I mean, it was always like in places like, the Madison Square Garden. He fought in Atlanta when he fought Jamel Herring. He fought Valdez or Valpeds out in Vegas. So, I mean, Shakur, he's branching out, and Top Rank and ESPN is doing a very good job promoting him. But why can't we see a Shakur Stevenson fight in Puerto Rico? Why can't we see Shakur Stevenson fight in Mexico? Why can't we see him fight out in, the UK or Spain or Italy, France? Like, I think those would be great venues for Shakur Stevenson to go for, because that means that Shakur Stevenson, he has more of a higher branch out with what he does now for his fan base. And I think what he is doing now for the sport of boxing to, pay his, respects for his own heritages, obviously being, black and Puerto Rican, but it's like, now that's a good marketing, that's a good marketing mechanism to stand up for, for your true audiences. So I think either way, it's a good move for Shakur Stevenson. It's not like he's betraying his own people. I don't think he would ever say on any interview to say that I'm not a black man, I'm a proud Puerto Rican man, with black roots, but I'm always Puerto Rican, before being black. Like, no, that's just really stupid, to say. And I just don't see that to be, like a good mechanism to, to really even use. But, either way, Shakur, he is who he is. I don't ever expect him to say like, I'm not a black man, I'm a proud, Puerto Rican man, blah blah blah, fuck being black. Like, no, like he's never, he will never say that in any setting, to say that, I don't want to be black anymore, I'm just going to be a Puerto Rican person. No, like that, that will be the dumbest thing ever said by Shakur Stevenson. And I would probably say something to be the first one here saying that Shakur Stevenson is basically being stupid, not acknowledging being black, over, Puerto Rican. But it's like, he's never said that. So, there's really nothing to really say to say that, he's betraying, his own people. So either way, at the end of the day, in my opinion, to close this out, I don't see Shakur Stevenson doing anything stupid on that level. And he is who he is, he has stated on multiple occasions that, he's proud of both roots, and I don't see anything wrong with it. And obviously with me, I'm not trying to be biased, I'm black myself, but I'm not going to sit here and say that Shakur Stevenson can't be proud, of his actual heritages. I mean, shit, look at, Alicia Baumgartner. She's black and Asian, if I'm not mistaken, but, she still considers considers herself black. There's nothing, wrong with, her, acknowledging her own, outside roots. But I guess it's just, when it comes to, black people in general, people just have, this weird mindset of thinking that, when you're, how should I say, when you are black, you cannot, operate, as a different person. You always have to put yourself in the position of just being limited to just being exclusive as a black person. And I don't find that to be fair. I find that to be, massively unfair, because it's like, that's just saying that, only black people can go a certain route of, representing themselves in the world, if they do have any mixed, genetic traits or genetic, ethnicities. But either way, I just find it to be hearsay, at the end of the day. And I guess if people want to, people want to use that as a means to say that I'm race baiting, or I'm not being truthful to my own people, or I'm not standing up for them, that's just absolute bullshit, because I don't do that. I'm proud of who I am, and I'll always be proud of being black over anything else, but I do pay my respects to my other roots too. So that's pretty much it, man. Let me know what you guys think about Shakur Stevenson. Do you think he's quote unquote betraying his own people, or do you think it's a good idea that he acknowledges the Puerto Rican roots more? So I'll see you guys later. Appreciate you guys, and until next time, bye.